Where does evil come from, or is introduced into the world? Well, you will all probably know something about the Garden of Eden. This is the idea that in this garden, in this place, evil began to make itself known. This place is where the devil firstly appears as a snake to try and tempt Adam and Eve to eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Now clearly snakes don't talk, and nor do apples have powers to do with good and evil. So the question is, what does this story really mean? Well, for some people it would mean that evil is something that can be explained in a purely natural way, i.e. evil is a purely psychological or emotional issue, and they wouldn't attach any kind of spiritual meaning to evil at all. The story you've just seen there, the snake story, is clearly to them not true. It might be a good story, it might be a nice story, but it isn't necessarily the truth. The snakes can't talk. So it's purely psychological or an issue to do with an illness, maybe a mental illness or something like that. However, this Garden of Eden story is the only and Christian story to do with where evil enters the world as well. This is traditionally known as the fall of mankind or original sin. And as I've just said, it's where the devil appears as a snake, and his purpose is to try and get Adam and Eve to disobey God. From a Christian religion perspective, at this point, human beings became separated from God and evil entered the world. The world at this point became, if you like, full of or partly evil, or there was evil existing in the world because of this event called the fall. Clearly not all Christians believe that this event is a real event. There are those that recognise that, as I said before, snakes don't talk, it's symbolic, it's a way of communicating something important but not literally true. That will be important to remember if you get a question about the origin or beginning of evil. Again, just to remind you, the devil is the one who symbolically, for some people, sums up all that's evil, but yet others believe that this figure actually exists and is out there as a spiritual being, ruling and bringing evil into the world. Well, the question is, as I've already said, is the devil real? Well, some people do believe that the devil is a real being who will one day be destroyed by God and is used by God to test people's faith. In the Bible, Jesus was tested by the devil but refused to give in, unlike Adam and Eve. The devil also appears in another story in the Bible, and that story is the story of a man called Job, who was a devout follower of God, who basically was tested to the limit, or his faith was tested to the limit. And in that testing to the limit, he never gave up on his faith. And the devil did not win over Job. His faith was tested and he came out true. So clearly the devil is used in the Bible as a way of testing people's faith. Other Christians think that the devil is just a symbolic way of explaining evil in the world. And really evil is not the result of the devil, it's a result of a psychological or even the result of bad upbringing. So not everyone thinks the devil is a real being, even Christians.